Hello, hopeful friends. Happy Mothering Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. Like me, it's Happy Step Monsters Day. Today I'm going to show you some more of my polymer clay crafts. These are some little table favours that I made for one of our fundraising events. This happened Friday, today's Sunday, so I can finally show it to you. Hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you soon. Hello, hopeful friends. I'm Della of Quilt of Hope Cornwall. Welcome to my channel. As well as having our own team, Quilt of Hope Cornwall, Mr. L and I are both on the committee for Relay for Life, Liskeard, Cornwall. And as a committee, we have several fundraising events during the year, and this helps obviously Cancer Research UK. We also need some fundraising to hire things like the stage, health and safety, and all those other millions of things that you need on organising an event. So one of the things we started doing last year was having fundraising meals at different restaurants around southeast Cornwall. These have gone down really well, and at each one I've made some little table favours. So this time our fundraising meal is at the Harbour Moon in Looe. And because it's moon, I thought it was nice to make some little moon favours. Now I am really excited because very kindly the Liskeard Relay Committee have actually sponsored this block of clay for me. It looks very boring in the packet, but it's actually pearl. And in my own stash I've only got this little bit, so it's going to look, I'm hoping it's going to look sort of moonlighty colours. So I thought I'd show you a brief process of how I create. So this mould I did actually buy myself because I will use it for other things, and I didn't want to waste the precious clay that I've been sponsored. So I did have a little bit of Primo Sculpey pearl, so I'm going to experiment with these in different sizes of moons and shapes to see which is the most appropriate, and then of course, because this is mine, I can keep one for myself. The first thing I need is a sharp blade. Now it should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, these are not for children. Polymer clay is perfectly safe for children under supervision, but not the blade. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut myself some slices so that my clay's slightly more manageable, and I always put my blade back in its case just in case of accidents. And I take my clean roller and start to roll. Now this is called conditioning. It just needs to be soft, and there's all sorts of benefits to this which I'm not going to go through now. So I do actually have an electric roller which is very loud, so I'm going to do that off camera and condition all this clay. Well, that didn't take too long in my machine. One thing I wanted to say with clay, particularly when you're using something like pearl or white, it shows every single mark. I haven't used my machine for quite a while because I've had back problems and it's not that comfortable. And I've been doing lots of sewing where I can sit in a comfortable chair. But although I did clean it, I did manage to pick up a few little bits. So I just scrunch them into a little ball. I never throw clay away, ever. Even the tiniest little bit can be reused. Polymer clay is a polymer, it's plastic, and we don't want to be throwing that away because there is no away. Where is away? So I put all my little bits and pieces. They look pretty disgusting, but I have a little jar, hexagon shaped of course, and there's some red in there. That's discoloured with some black, I think. So I'm just going to pop that in there, and then when has a bit more in it, I'll actually mix it up. It usually ends up as some sort of browny colour, but that's fine because I can use that for filler and the backing of brooches and all sorts of things, and you can colour it. But nothing is wasted. So I'm going to start with the round moon face, probably because it's probably going to be easier. Roll it out a little bit thinner. You can start to see the pearlescence. I'm going to press that into the mould. Now this is my practice one. I really need to do my I completely forgot. It shows how long it is since I've done polymer clay. This is just nail polish and it's starting to flake off, so I wouldn't recommend that at all when you're working with polymer clay. So I need to either take this off completely and have bare nails, or use some a gel polish. But this is just my practice run, so if I get any bits on it, doesn't matter, it's only for me. Some people like to use a silicone tool to help do that, but I like to use my fingers. Nature's best tools. And this is where, if I had enough of that scrappy clay, which I don't at the moment because I've used it all for another project, you could put that scrappy clay in there and nobody would be any the wiser. Now I don't mind that. Normally if this was going to be a bead or something else, I would spend a lot longer refining that, but that looks craters of the moon, does in my mind anyway. So, and this is my practice one for me. And then this is the tricky bit. Well, it's not difficult, you just need to be careful. There is my moon. Now this is going to go on a sheet, and it's gone onto a tile. This tile is very old. I've used it for ever since I've been claying. I just pop that onto there, and when I've made some more, it can go to bake. I'm going to try some of these other shapes. I'm going to use my tool, my silicone tool for this, because it's quite deep, but it's quite narrow to get a finger in. Fairly neat for now for a test run. The clay actually needs conditioning a little bit more, so I shall do that. Fluff gets everywhere. It's not even the cat. There's the man in the moon, and I can see a couple of little cracks there, so this clay definitely needs a lot more conditioning. So I'm going to make myself a cup of tea, move around to the other side, and use my electric motor and see how that comes out. Great thing about clay, polymer clay, is it doesn't dry until you bake it. So because this has cracks in it, I can just use it again. Wonderful stuff. I've decided that I really love this little one. Still needs a little bit of refining, but I really like it. My only concern is the edges are very thin, they taper down, and if I put these on a card and somebody peels that off, the little snap. So I had the idea, what about if I use some of my scrappy clay and I mix just a little bit of blue into it. This is Fimo Professional. It's quite dark blue, can't remember the name of it, just navy blue. And you only need a tiny amount to mix in with the pearl. You still get that pearly colour. And this is very old, very dry, but but it doesn't matter because I can mix it in. But somebody was selling it off, so it was already opened. It's very dry, very crumbly, but it wasn't expensive and perfect for this sort of thing. I'm going to texture that again. I actually measured the size of the moon, and it's about 3 centimetres, an inch roughly. So I looked in my cutters and I found one that was the right size. Again, this is just a practice. That can go up in the back in the bits pile. That will be refined a lot more. Well, I quite like that for a prototype, so let's make some more. Here's the first batch of 20. They can go into the oven, and while they're baking, I'll make them the next 20. They're all baked and they've cooled down, and now I'm going to use some glue dots, sticky dots, to put on the back. Now normally we put the little pocket hugs on little cards just to say thank you for attending our event, but this time we thought it'd be nice for our people who were supporting us to know actually where their money's going. So we've created this little slip which gives some examples of where the money goes to Cancer Research UK, and it took me a while to work it out. I printed on the back too. And then, as one of our committee members said, I need to do a little bit of basic origami. So fold it in half. And then again, and last one. And then I take one of the little pocket hugs and stick that temporarily on the card. And that will be a little table favour for all our guests. I hope they like them. And just for fun, I've made a larger moon. I made a hole in it with the ribbon, my initials on the back, and this is for our lovely hosts at the Harbour Moon in Looe. I hope they like it. Next time you see these, they should be on the table.